Measurement of length and motion. First of all, we'll start with what is meant by length of an object and how it is related to the concept of distance. The length of an object is defined as the distance from one end of the object to its other end. For example, if the distance from one end of a pencil to the other end is 10 centimeters, then the length is said to be 10 centimeters. And the distance refers to the length of the space between 2 points, 2 places. For instance, if the length of the space between Delhi and Agra is 200 kilometers, then the distance is said to be 200 kilometers. So distance and length are often used in the same sense, and when we say measurement of distance, we actually mean measurement of length. Now further we'll discuss the SI unit of length. SI stands for the standard unit of length. So these units are used all over the world for uniformity in measurement of various physical quantities like length, mass and time. So it is meters. And in India also, the National Physical Laboratory in New Delhi maintains the standard copy of meter. Moving further, we'll define what is measurement and why it is necessary in our daily life. So measurement is the process of comparing an object with a standard unit of measurement. When we go to a cloth shop to buy a fabric for our school uniform, the shopkeeper measures the cloth using a standard unit of length, that is meters. And when we visit a tailor for stitching the uniform, the tailor also takes our body measurements using a measuring tape to ensure proper fitting of the clothes. So that is why measurement is so much necessary in our life. Next is that why are units like handspan, former length and footstep are not considered standard unit of measurement. Units like handspan, forearm length or footstep, they are not considered standard as they are not uniform and they vary from person to person. These units depend on the body parts of the individual. And since every person has a different hand size, arm length or walking style, so these measurements cannot be used as a method to measure anything. One person's hand may be 18 centimeter while others can be 22 centimeter. So to avoid such confusions, we use standard units of measurement like meter in the meter system, which is fixed and universally accepted. We talked about standard unit of measurement and why it is necessary to have standard units. We'll discuss now. A standard unit of measurement is a unit which has a fixed value and doesn't change from person to person or place to place. For example, the meter is the standard unit of length. So it is necessary to have these standard units as there is uniformity in measurement. Without standard units, different people may use different measurement for the same quantity, which leads to confusion and incorrect results. Now we will learn about prefixes that are used with SI units. So these prefixes are used before the name of an SI unit to represent larger or smaller values of that unit. So a few prefixes that we can use with meters are kilo, centi and milli. Let's go ahead with certain numericals. The height of a person is 1.72 meters. Then if we have to express it in centimeters or millimeters, so we'll have to go through the conversion process. So 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So we'll multiply 1.72 into 100 and the answer would be 172 centimeters. And further, if we have to convert 1.72 meters into millimeter, then 1 meter is equal to 1000 millimeters. So 1.72 into 1000 makes 1720 millimeters. Let's do one more question. The distance between Neha's home and her school is 4875 meters. Now we have to express this distance in kilometers. So 1000 meters make 1 kilometer. So I'm going to divide 4875 by 1000 and the answer would be 4.875 kilometers, or I can say 4 kilometers and 875 meters. For measurement, we need certain devices to measure any object. So there are various devices like meter scale, measuring tape, etc. A meter scale is usually made of metal, wood, or plastic, and it cannot bend, whereas a measuring tape is made of flexible materials which allows it to bend easily around objects. So choosing the right measuring device, if the object is straight, then we should go ahead with the ruler or the measuring scale, and if it's round, we can use a measuring tape. To ensure accurate measurements, it's important to select the correct device. Straight objects can be measured with a meter scale and round can be with a measuring tape. There are certain precautions that need to be taken care while measuring with a scale. First, take a scale or ruler that is marked in centimeters or millimeters. Place that object in such a way that one end of it's aligned with zero mark of the scale. Ensure that the scale is placed along the side of the object, keeping it straight and not tilted. And read the mark on the scale where the other end of that object ends. So this value gives the length of the object. The measuring length accurately requires proper alignment of the object with the scale, correct eye position, and use of a good quality measuring device. By following the method and precautions, we can avoid common mistakes and ensure precise measurement. Now we will discuss that how can we measure the length of a curved line using a thread or a scale. See, we cannot measure the length of a curved line using a straight scale directly because curved lines do not follow a straight path. So we have to measure it with either with a thread or that is measuring tape. Now take a piece of thread and tie a knot near one end of the thread. Now this knot will act as a starting point. Now place a knot at one of the curved line and begin moving the thread along the curved line in small segments, ensuring that the thread follows the shape of the curve. Keep the thread tight, press down using your thumb, forefinger as you go along the curve. Now when the thread reaches the other end of the curved line, mark that point on the thread and now straighten the thread and place it on the scale to measure the distance between the knot to the ink mark. Now this measured distance gives the total length of that curved line. Let's do a numerical based on this to understand the concept more nicely. A 30 centimeter scale has one end broken. Now the mark at the broken end is 2.6 centimeters. So how would you use it to measure the length of your pencil then? Since the zero mark is broken, we know that the first visible mark is 2.6 centimeters. So to measure the pencil, we'll align its end with the 3 centimeter mark, that is visible. Suppose the other end of the pencil comes at 13 centimeter on the scale. Now we'll subtract that initial mark, that is 3 centimeter, from the final reading 13 centimeter. So answer would be 10 centimeter. So we'll get our length of the pencil, that is 10 centimeter. After measurement, we'll move towards the motion and its type. First of all, what is motion? So motion refers to the movement of an object. An object is said to be in motion when its position changes with time. In other words, I can say that if an object changes its location from one place to another over a period of time, it is considered to be in motion. For example, a man walking on the road, birds flying in the sky, a swing moving back and forth, all these are examples of different motions. Now, types of motions. The first is rectilinear or linear motion. So motion in a straight line is called rectilinear or linear motion. In other words, when an object moves along a straight path, that is called a linear motion. Example is when a bullet is fired from a gun, or a cyclist moving on a straight road, a train running on a straight track, or a boy sliding down a straight slope. Next is circular motion. Now when an object moves along a circular path, it is called circular motion. A round path that has the shape of a circle allows object to move in a circular motion. A stone tied to a string spun is in a circle, the hands of a clock, or the movement of artificial satellites around the earth, all these are examples of circular motion. And the third one is oscillatory motion. That is a motion that repeats itself after regular interval of time. In this kind of a motion, the object returns to its original position after a fixed time. It moves to and fro repeatedly around a central point. For example, vibrating stretched strings of a musical instrument, a pendulum of a clock swings back and forth, the motion of a child on a swing. So all of these are example of oscillatory motion. I hope you have understood this chapter very well. For further queries, you can put your question in the comment box, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel.